widest known urban legend at Manhauntedville is that the castle is haunted. The Reed family occupied the castle previously and consisted of Mr. and Mrs. Reed, their 2 daughters, and 1 son. Mrs. Reed died of an illness. The boy died as a result of falling down the front marble stairs. An inferno consumed 1 wing of the castle, burning the 2 Reed daughters alive. It is said that Mrs. Reed and her 3 children haunt the castle day and night. They can be seen and heard lurking around the 4th floor in particular. There have been many recorded accounts of ghost sightings. In addition to the castle being haunted by the Reed family, apparently it is also haunted by the spirits of nuns who used to teach when Manhauntedville was a Catholic women's college. The nuns came to a breaking point in their lives and felt that the only way out was to hang themselves from the rafters in the castle.
Hello, Jude. I heard that you had some stories about Reed Castle. What are the ones that you know of?
Well, the ones that I know of, I was told by Rich when he took Manhauntedville Sound on the tour before we did the Haunted Castle tours to kind of give us a feel of what the stories were, what happened. And the first one he told us about was walking down the hallway to the West Room, and there's a big portrait of 3 children. And he said, these 3 children died in the fire here and never left. Like they couldn't go, they had nowhere to go. So they're kind of known to roam the downstairs hallway into the West Room a little bit. And I mean, they're children, so they're just mischievous. They're mischievous little spirits running around. And it's creepy because if you look at the picture, their eyes follow you, so it's kind of like they're here.
Yeah.
And it's creepy because they're children. So, and then walking into the West Room is where you see the White Lady.
Who's that?
No one really knows. We weren't really told who the White Lady was, but if you look up on the balcony, sometimes she's there with pale skin and dark hair and a long white flowy dress, and just kind of hangs out in there. It's kind of the West Room's friend.
Okay.
And in from the West Room, if you go into a little room right off of it, they filmed a commercial or a movie there one time, and when they were filming, a lot of things were happening. There were noises and sounds, bangs and movements, but when they looked back on the film, none of it was there. So it's kind of like something was going on there. I don't know if it was necessarily one ghost or maybe all of them hanging out. The holiday room upstairs. Rich said one night he was locking up with another security guard and one of the doors slammed on them. And when that happened, they were like, all right, it's locked up, let's go, we're done, the castle is locked up, we need to leave. Which is really funny because Rick says, I'm not afraid of anything. And the security guards all want to be like, yeah, whatever, the castle, we're just going to lock it up. But he says quite a few of them have just kind of had weird things happen, noises, things close or open. So the holiday room is kind of where that happened for him. And a few years ago when Manhauntedville Sound was doing the tour with Rich, they were walking to the chapel and the stained glass that's in the lobby that you see, they were behind it, and one of the panes fell down in front of them. So it was just kind of like they were already talking about ghosts, it was the middle of the night, and one of these panes just fell.
No gust of wind or anything?
No, it's an inside window. They were just behind it near the faculty building room, so.
Just a ghost.
Just a ghost, I guess. Saying, trying to get some
very much for letting us in on what you know about Reed Castle.
No problem.
Reed Castle is not Manhauntedville's only haunt, though. A leisurely stroll through a graveyard and down a near-forgotten dirt trail leads to the Ladies' Chapel. Ben Holliday, the original owner of the land the Reeds would later acquire, laid the cornerstone of the chapel in 1864. A testament for his devotion to wife Anne, the chapel served as a burial tomb for the Holliday family. Now the Ladies' Chapel only serves to collect dust and evoke fear among the student population. Students often report objects vanishing and then reappearing in other parts of the building. Ghastly shadows stir through the cobwebbed windows. The chapel still remains in disarray.
So tell me about your experience on the 4th floor in Spelman Hall.
So last year a couple of us were hanging out in the 1st floor, and we were all just hanging out, and somebody came downstairs and was like, the 4th floor door is open, like, come on, like, let's go. And everyone was like, no, I'm not going. And I was sitting there and I was like, why not? I want to go. It's the 4th floor. I didn't even know it existed because above me, I lived on the 3rd floor and there was nothing, I didn't think there was anything above me, so I was like, I don't get why everyone's so freaked out, I'll go. So my friend Amir and my friend Zane got up to go. So I went with them and we were going up the stairs and I didn't feel nervous or anything because I didn't think anything, I had no idea of what other people knew about the 4th floor, like stories, whether they were true or not, like, but I could feel my heart like racing. And we got up to the 4th floor and there was like this breeze, but there's no windows in the 4th floor that I could see. There might be, but as far as I could tell, there wasn't. So we went in, the door was already open. We went in and it was really dark. The room was pretty big. It only looked like one room to me, like maybe there was something more in the back because we couldn't see past a certain distance because it was so dark. And there was like old mattresses like on the floor, but it looked like everything had been pushed to the sides. And in the middle on the floor, which we didn't even notice at first, we all walked in and I looked down and there was this giant pentagram like drawn on the floor or painted or something. And so I was like, what is that? Like, why is this here? And everyone was like, oh my god, like what is going on? And all of a sudden we heard like a light bulb crash and it was the only light that was on. And once it hit the floor, I ran like it was my job. Like I ran so fast down all the stairs, like we all left and we got back to the home and everyone was freaking out and everyone was like, well, now I want to go. And it was like, I'm like, no, I'm not going back. And like 2 minutes later, we hadn't even stopped talking about what was going on. There was a knock on the door and it was an RA and there was campus safety. And the RA, we thought the RA came because we were being so loud, like we were screaming because we were all so scared. And there was a desk in my friend's room and they were like, where'd you get that desk from? And she was like, I don't know, I found it like on the staircase by the 4th floor or something, she said, like in between the 3rd and 4th floor. And they were like, no, where did you get this from? Like we need to know exactly where you got it from and why you have it in your room. And they kept like questioning her about where she got it, and then want to tell them that we were on the 4th floor because obviously it's locked for a reason. Like, we're not supposed to be up there. And eventually they left. And our one friend, like, our group got separated. So some of our friends, they were like, well, I want to go get my camera. And they left. So we all went. So my friend Amir and I went back to go up to the 4th floor to see, like, if anyone was still up there, and the door was locked, and, like, nobody could get back in. And I haven't heard anything about it since.
Resident director of Spellman Hall refused to be interviewed.
The authenticity of these urban legends are up for debate. Perhaps one starless October night, one of you will feel a chill run down the small of your back, a clammy hand tickling your neck, the hairs on your arms howling in hysteria. Maybe the long-lost souls of Manhauntedville are looking over your shoulder, or maybe your mind is running panicked laps around the brink of sanity. Dare you tempt the thin veil of mortality? The choice is yours.